My music doesn't seem to be connecting. Which is weird. Everything should be connected. I don't know. I just wanted to run a test. See if this game actually streamed. Seems to be stable so far. Though again, I'm not hearing the music, so my mix-it-up probably needs fixing. I don't know. I'll have to go through and try to fix stuff. No worries. Like I said, this is kind of a test stream. Hello, Opie. Opie go, Opie go, Opie go! At least the commands seem to be working. Okay. So, we're doing gaming. Look at that! Terra Whozewhatsit. This is a text-based incremental game. You go through and you do time loops, and I will be starting my game over because, again, test stream, make sure everything's working. How is the connection? So we're going to go up here, we're going to click New Game. Alright. You awaken in a cryo-sleep pod. A deep chill seeps through your body and your mind seems wrapped in a dense fog which obscures your memories. So we're going to go ahead and open the cryopod. Something tells you it should have opened when you wake up, but a lever labeled Emergency Open tempts you relentlessly. Base 5 seconds. Remaining 5 seconds. Finished 0. Queued 0. Max 1. Alright. Cryopod is opening. Relatively warm but stale air rushes into the pod as the door lurches open, carrying with it a variety of unpleasant smells. You find yourself in a small room with few furnishings and only one door. So next up we have Explore the Facility. This room is obviously part of a larger facility. You should find out what it is and maybe get some clue as to why you're here, or who you are. Takes 10 seconds. Yes, Winter, I hear you. We are exploring the facility. Explorification! The facility seems to be a small terraforming station codenamed Talos, but it's in very poor condition. Most of the systems are offline or unresponsive, and the door to the ground floor is locked. There are several other cryopods like the one you were in, but seeing a few sealed bottles of water makes you suddenly realize how thirsty you are. Drink small water bottle. You really need a drink right now. 2 seconds. Boop. And now we have options. Turns out you have a handy nano storage device which can store a limited number of each object in existence, so long as it's not too big. Not that it matters just yet, as you were thirsty enough to guzzle that bottle straight down. Question is, what should your next priority be? So we have options, but if we want to survive, I'm going to make a few choices on my own, and we'll get to group choices later. So first and foremost, we're going to take a few of these small bottles of water. Get those added into my inventory. All right, we now have enough water to last for 1 minute and 17 seconds. Now that we've gotten that figured out, we're going to inspect the main generator, which takes 12 seconds. The immense fission reactor required to power a terraforming station like this is actually deep underground, but the diagnostic and control terminals feed you all the information you need. The logs show that several weeks ago, someone ordered the repair drones to disable the generator by removing several key components. It'll take a while, but you can easily reverse the process. So we're going to go ahead and take 40 seconds to repair the generator. We might actually end up dying, though. In the beginning, there's kind of you have to do things in a certain order. You start to feel the creeping pangs of hunger in your belly. It's not serious yet, but you might want to look into getting some food. Alright, a deep thrumming rumbles its way through the facility as the main generator starts back up. Hopefully, most of the systems will come back online with it. Alright, we've got 25 seconds of water left. We're going to take 12 seconds to inspect the water recycler. And then hopefully have enough time to grab some water out of it. Alright, we got 13 seconds left, and it takes 8 seconds to grab water. So here we go. Water recycler is mostly functional, but the main pump is broken. You'll need to find or build a replacement before you can clean any more water. Luckily, there's a small amount of clean water left in the tank, which you should be able to siphon out manually. So we're going to grab 5 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just in time. Suck that water down. And the more we do this, the faster we're able to. Okay. Going to inspect the food synthesizer. Okay. And some more water. So the air has started smelling increasingly foul. You don't think it's hazardous yet, but it doesn't seem to be improving. Maybe you should check on the life support. And despite every component showing significant sign of wear, the food synthesizer still seems to be operable. It'll take a bit of time to construct the food for you, but once you queue it up, you can get other tasks done when it runs. And since you've already restored the main generator, you're free to synthesize as much food as you want until it breaks down completely. Alright, so we've got enough water for a little bit. We're going to take the food. We're going to check on the life support. Alright. While the heating system is in near perfect condition, the carbon filters are completely spent. You can't think of a way to repair them, and can't find any spares, so you currently have no way to get fresh air. We're going to inspect the ground floor, which takes 10 seconds. Going to lift the lockdown. Queue up some more food. Take some more water. So this doesn't seem to be running too horribly. Alright, lockdown has been lifted. Let's see here. It seems the door is sealed as part of emergency lockdown. Luckily, since you've already restored main power, you should easily be able to lift the lockdown. Or try to force the door open, but it does look quite sturdy. You bypass the last bit of security, lifting the lockdown. The door obligingly slides aside, granting you access to the ground floor of the facility. So we're going to take 20 seconds to explore the ground floor. The ground floor is separated into two main areas. The personnel section is mostly quarters, common areas, and offices for the staff, all currently empty, though there is a locked administrator's office, which might have some useful data. The rest of the space is dedicated to maintenance, including a workshop and vehicle bay. Might be worth a closer look. We're going to go ahead and check out the vehicle bay. Alright, judging by the markings on the numerous parking spaces in the vehicle bay, there used to be dozens of rovers here, as well as several VTOLs, vertical take-off landing aircraft. Fortunately, or perhaps by someone's design, there's one rover left, tucked in the far corner of the bay. Down by the bay. Alright, so we're going to take 20 seconds to inspect the rover. A quick walk through the rover, checking the lockers and other storage, reveals very little. The one thing you do find is definitely going to be helpful, though, an emergency survival suit. It won't protect you from much, but it'll offer a sealed environment for you to breathe in, so long as you can keep your air tanks topped up. The rover usually have a recycler to refill them. You must hope that it's still working. So we're going to go ahead and take the emergency suit, which will make surviving a little easier. We're going to take more food. We're going to take more water. We're going to refill the air tanks. You probably shouldn't be surprised that half the rover systems are non-functional. The air recycler is working, so if you grab the emergency suit, you'll be able to refill its O2 tanks. But if you want to go anywhere, you'll need to cannibalize 4 power couplers from the facility systems and find enough scrap metal to patch the holes in the hull. The food synthesizer is missing several key components, and the water recycler is little more than a twisted shell of metal. Looks like someone tried to cut it out of the hull, destroying it instead. Hopefully you'll be able to gather enough supplies to make a decent length journey. So we're going to go ahead and remove the life support coupler and the water recycler coupler. We're going to check the other cryopods. How long does it take to force the admin door? 45 seconds versus 3 minutes to hack it. So we'll take the 45 seconds to force the door. You take the time to carefully check each of the cryopods, not wanting anyone else to be abandoned the way you were. Your heart skips a beat when 2 of them are actually occupied, but quickly sink as you notice the lack of life signs. They were dead before they were frozen. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and force the admin door. Alright, you find it relatively easy to force the door to the administrator's office open. Their computer isn't locked, but most of the data seems to have been corrupted. Other than the last active file, only a few schematics are still accessible. Inside the desk, you find a stash of protein bars. 10 seconds to play the admin log. We aren't probably going to make it. Alright, Colonel Taggart, the administrator, giving a report. Something about an artifact. Gonna take the power coupler from the office. Gonna explore the workshop. We are out of water. That took too long. Oh, water pouches. Hello. workshop has water. We are saved for the moment. Alright, gonna take metal sheets and prepare the rover as best we can. The air inside the building is running out. Alright, gonna take the PDA. And this gives us notes on things that are going on. Facilities, Talos, bunch of information, artifacts, the Talos artifact, and where did everyone go? Plus a map. Because maps are useful. Alright, while we're at it, take food. Synthesize food. Take water. All right. We're going to take some more. We're going to start repairing the hull, which takes 45 seconds in total. Requires 15 sheets of metal. So that's 15 seconds per repair. Take the workshop coupler. 5 more metal sheets. Repair the rest of the power system and the rover hull. Okay, power systems are almost done. Boom. Rover hums to life. Finishing up the hull. Bam. Alright, pressure regulator seems to be fine. There is a little bit of air leak, but it shouldn't be too bad. I'm gonna fill up our air tank 3 more times. Grab some more water. Grab some more food. Okay. We should have everything we need for the moment. So So we're going to jump in the rover and take off. Alright. So, after triple checking the rover systems and your stockpile of food and water, you finally leave Talos Station behind. With the onboard GPS guiding you, it's relatively simple to aim for the coordinates from the administrator's final log. You sit back and stare out at the slowly passing lifeless landscape, idly wondering what you might find when you reach your target. Follow the coordinates! 45 seconds. A lot of this is time management. There was a recent update, as of yesterday, I think, which fixed some stuff and added some stuff. Not a whole lot, but enough. I have played at least 90% of the content in the game so far. But I am never adverse to restarting. First leg of your journey takes you past all the small buildings and equipment which support the facility you were in. Small solar farms to supply backup power, drills to release pockets of gas to build up an atmosphere and trap heat, heaters to raise the temperature of the newly formed atmosphere. You seem to understand them all, and yet you know that something about them is wrong. Alright, continuing to follow the coordinates. The rover itself is currently at air. We have 2 minutes of water left. Alright. It's been a while since you last saw one of the support buildings, and you've had nothing to look at but the landscape, which is good, as otherwise you may have missed seeing a flash of the reflected sun on the horizon. It's a little off your current heading, but with nothing else out here, you feel it's worth investigating. Head to the reflection for 30 seconds. We're making good time. We are out of food and water. As you draw closer to where you saw the reflection, you eventually able to make out the shape of another rover. It's in far worse shape than yours was, even before you fixed it up. In fact, it looks almost as if it's been sitting derelict for years and has been partially buried by the weather and terrain. The Talos station emblazoned on the hull is barely even visible. Moving around it, though, you're thoroughly confused by what you see. While the rear of the vehicle is rusted almost to the point of disintegrating in the desert wind, the wear lessens the further forward you look, with the front bumper looking almost pristine. Inspect time-worn rover for 25 seconds. All right.
According to the markings, it's definitely from the same facility as you. There are no bodies inside, so the driver and any passengers were likely rescued long ago. It seems they also took a lot of the components and tools that you could have used. However, in the rear compartment, you find a sealed containment crate, usually used to transport fragile or dangerous materials and equipment. You wonder what might be inside, and if it might be useful.
Open the containment crate. You feel like you should be more concerned about the potential danger of opening it, yet you're not.
You release the seals and pull back the lid of the crate, a light hiss telling you that it had indeed remained airtight for all this time. Inside rests a strange metallic object, unlike anything you know. Its surface appears to be made of countless tiny cubes, slowly moving and shifting in an unending rhythmic motion, which is almost hypnotic. You wonder what it feels like to touch. Touch the artifact!
For 5 seconds. You feel like you should be very concerned about what touching such an item might do, yet you're not.
As you touch the artifact, all its movement ceases for a moment. Then it suddenly begins collapsing in on itself. The cube seems to keep pulling inwards, folding together in impossible ways. Without warning, they start moving up your hand instead, pulling you down toward it, passing straight through your suit and sinking into your skin. They seem briefly confused by the PDA on your wrist before enveloping it as well. Moments later, all traces of it is gone, absorbed into your body. You're unsure what to do, but since there seems to be nothing else for you here,
You reluctantly return to your rover and resume your previous course. 30 seconds of getting back on course. We are running out of water. We will be dead soon. Or will we? That's the thing about time loops. You never know. You're still not sure how you could have failed to notice how far off course visiting the wreck would take you. The detour has drained a significant portion of your supplies, and you're getting concerned about your odds of survival. Continue to follow the coordinates. It'll take 2 minutes, and I got 5 seconds. Here we go. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. You know you're dying. There's no way you could have made it to the coordinates. You just weren't fast enough. Didn't have enough supplies. Maybe if you'd taken a slightly different route to get there faster, or found some way to repair more of its systems. But none of that matters now. You close your eyes for the final time. Wake up. You awaken in a cryo sleep pod. Wait, weren't you dead? The chill seeping through your body and fog wrapped around your mind obscures many of the details, but you definitely remember fragments of what happened. Then you realize that you still have your PDA securely strapped to your wrist. You're certain you didn't have that last time you woke up, and it even seems to have all the information you put on it. So, the map. And the notes. Now, if you want, we can read through the notes. Or we can continue on with opening the cryopod again. What shall it be? Do 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 do. While I'm waiting, I'm going to steal a Dr. Pepper. All right, so we've got read notes. So we shall go over to the PDA and go to notes, and we will start with facilities Talos. After waking up alone in a cryopod, my explorations quickly revealed that I was in a terraforming facility named Talos on the surface of a seemingly partially terraformed planet. As far as I can tell, the facility was abandoned some time ago because most of the systems failed, or are about to. I found this PDA in the workshop. I can use it to keep track of any useful information I come across. There's a decent stockpile of supplies here, but once the food synthesizer gives out, I won't last too long here. I managed to access the facility's administrator's computer. Most of the data has been corrupted by the system damage, but the last video log recorded by the administrator was still accessible. It mentioned some kind of artifact and that they were evacuating to another facility. Thankfully, he included the coordinates to that facility. When everyone left, it seemed they took everything or every working vehicle with them. I'm not sure if that was the only way they could take everyone, except me, or if they just didn't want to leave behind any potentially useful equipment. Luckily, I was able to, mostly, repair the one remaining rover. I won't have the luxury of a large supply of food and water, and it'll probably leak small amounts of air, but I should at least stand a chance of reaching somewhere else, hopefully somewhere with other people and plenty of supplies. I checked out the rest of the cryopods. The only ones which aren't empty contain corpses. At least I know I won't be leaving anyone behind. Talos Artifact. The commander in Talos spoke about an artifact which somehow destabilized the systems. From what I saw, some of the components were brand new, while others were worn and decayed to the point of failure. What sort of artifact could cause that kind of damage? I found the wreckage of a rover which looked like it had been there for decades, perhaps longer. Inside was a bizarre object, constantly shifting and changing. It must be the artifact that the Talos commander was talking about. The moment I saw it, I couldn't take my eyes off it, and felt compelled to touch it. But when I did, it was absorbed into my body. I can feel that it's changed me, but have no clue how or why. For now, I have little choice but to continue toward the coordinates. Perhaps I'll find more answers there. Where did everyone go? Chat so I can see if anyone says anything. Which it doesn't look like anyone's saying anything. The personnel from Talos evacuated to another facility due to the damage caused by the artifact. I've got the coordinates for it, but don't know anything more. Alright, so now we shall open the cryopod. Relatively warm but stale air rushes into the pod as the door lurches open, carrying with it a variety of unpleasant smells. Everything so far is happening exactly the same, but knowing, or at least suspecting, that the life support system is wearing out, and this will be the freshest air you taste for a while, is far from comforting. Explore the facility! Running out of water. If there was any doubt in your mind that you were somehow back on the same place, it was dispelled by your brief tour of the facility. Everything is exactly as it was when you woke up the first time, including your immense thirst when you spot the bottles of water on the table. You should probably remember to come straight here for a drink if you wake up here again. Drink small bottle of water. Ah! As you quickly down the bottle of water, you consider your next move. You have to assume you've somehow been sent back in time, most likely due to the artifact. With all the prior knowledge you now possess, you've already been completing your tasks slightly faster, but you realize you can go straight to the biggest problems and fix them before they get worse. One question is, which is the biggest problem right now? So, we will start feeling hungry in 46 seconds, and the carbon filters, which clean the air, will fail in almost 2 minutes. So we've got a list of choices here. Repairing the main generator means that we have power, and so we'll be able to do anything that requires power, like lifting the lockdown. We can force the ground floor door, but that takes 15 minutes. And we ain't got 15 minutes. We can take the non-essential couplers. That takes 31.8 seconds to do. I think we should take these 3 small bottles of water first. And then take 3 more of these. The more we do this, the faster we get at it. We've already got it down to 5.6 seconds out of 8. However, that being said, I think we should repair the generator. It'll take 32 seconds, but we've got the time. You start to feel the creeping pangs of hunger in your belly. You should probably get the main generator repaired so you can synthesize some food. A deep thrumming rumbles its way through the facility as the main generator starts back up. Without needing to check, you know the food synthesizer and ground floor door will be included among the systems automatically coming back online. So, we're going to take and synthesize some food. All right, and we're going to acquire some more water. My PDA is flashing at me, which means we have more information. I'm going to go ahead and take the food that's been made. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and lift the lockdown. Because that seems like the fastest option right now. Oh, I saw blue. So, anything that shows up blue on this list means that if I start it now, I will get to keep the time that's spent on it in the next go-around. So we're going to go ahead and hack the door after taking the suit. Take some water pouches. food. Fill the air tanks. Thankfully, this will keep us going for a good little bit. So we'll actually have time to do some of the stuff. So we're going to go down here and we're going to, while we can force the door again, it'll be faster this time, I'm going to go ahead and hit hack. That way next time we come through, we can just automatically open the door. Well, I mean not automatically, but pretty close to. One of the things I like about doing this on stream is that I can have you guys help me make decisions. So while we're waiting for that to do its thing, I'm going to go ahead and run another 3-minute break. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We got some work to do now. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We need some help from you now. Come on, Scooby-Doo, I see you, pretending you got a sliver. You're not fooling me, 'cause I can see the way you shake and shiver. Alright, we are back. And what's great about this game is that when you complete a task, it pauses. So I'm not running down
my time. Let's see here. Right on time, you notice the air starts to smell increasingly foul, meaning the carbon filters have failed. You're not concerned since you're already wearing the emergency suit. But you may as well keep breathing the facility air as long as you can to conserve what's in your suit. You finally manage to crack the password to the administrator's office. You quickly save a copy to your PDA so you can just type it in next time. Grateful that the small device seems to be looping with you, avoiding the need for you to memorize every detail yourself. You already know what's on the computer, but the stash of protein bars in the desk should come in handy.
So we're going to go ahead and take and synthesize food. Take the protein bars. Basic food. Protein bar. Water pouches. Water bottles. Make sure that we're
Up on everything.
And again, the more we do the stuff, the faster it gets. Except for synthesizing food takes an amount of time consisting of numbers. Yeah, 1.1 seconds. I guess. Alright, now we're full on everything. We're going to go ahead and take the non-essential couplers.
Another thing that's really cool is that when you get to certain points, some of the stuff that you do combines into a single thing.
Alright, so we got the power couplers. So we're going to repair the power system. I've already finished my Dr. Pepper. Jeez. And I'm almost done with my cottage cheese. Alright. Rover's back to life. Now I just need to grab the metal, start repairing the hull.
So one of the things I like to do is I like to go back to that rover and open the box again, just so that it takes it off the list. But we don't necessarily have to do that.
Alright. The rover has been completely repaired. We're going to make sure that we have everything we need.
I just want to make sure everything is topped up.
Or at least as close to topped up as it'll let me get. Alright. We have 5 of all the essential things, 5 air tanks, 5 basic food, 5 protein bars, 5 small water bottles, and 5 water pouches. Here we go.
Leaving in the rover. Alright, we are now outside the facility.
Make sure we got everything we need. We got 5 minutes of water, 7.5 minutes of food, 5.5 minutes of air in our tank, and 3/4 of a minute of air in the rover. So we're going to start following the coordinates.
Alright. Passing the smaller support buildings and equipment again gives you another chance to examine them all. You're increasingly certain that something just isn't right about them, but can't figure out what it is. Maybe it'd be worth taking a closer look at them if you ever get the chance. For now, you have more important target.
Follow the coordinates.
Ugh. Unfortunately, I cannot stay up for too much longer because I do still have work tonight. We'll at least try to make it to the end of the loop. Alright, so we now have 2 choices. We can go to the time-worn rover and check the box again, or we can bypass it and continue on to our next destination.
So, new poll. All right, starting poll now. while we're waiting, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the PDA and look at the new notes. So the Talos artifact, I found the wreckage of a rover, which looked like it had been there for decades, perhaps longer. Inside was a bizarre object, constantly shifting and changing. It must be the artifact that the Talos commander was talking about. The moment I saw it, I couldn't take my eyes off it, and felt compelled to touch it. But when I did, it was absorbed into my body. I didn't know how it had changed me until I died trying to reach the coordinates. Then I woke up again, back in the cryopod. As far as I can tell, everything is exactly the same as last time, except for this PDA, which seems to have been affected the same way as me. Is it possible that I'm actually in a time loop? Alright, looks like we are wasting time at the rover. So, we shall head to the time-worn rover. If you're right, and the artifact is in the the artifact in the rover is responsible for your looping through this time, maybe you should go check it out again.
24 seconds.
You reach the time-worn rover, and it looks just as you remember. If you'd had any other plans for the wreck, they leave your mind the moment you enter and you find yourself heading straight for the containment crate at the rear compartment. Now that you're here, you can't bear the thought of leaving without making sure the artifact isn't somehow still inside. Open the crate. You feel a slight rush of excitement as you approach the crate, which you now know contains the artifact. You're surprised how your heart flutters as you release the seals and pull back the lid of the crate, suddenly thrilled at the thought of getting to see the mesmerizing artifact once more. Moments later, you feel a crushing disappointment upon seeing that the crate is, in fact, empty. Whatever the artifact was, it's the only thing you found so far which is different from the first time. Unless you find out something more, you suppose there's not much reason to come back here in future loops. Back on course.
We're doing much better on supplies this time around.
Alright. Follow the coordinates for the next minute and 59 seconds.
Fortunately, we still have nearly 3 minutes of water. There's a lot of time between events in some cases. Silences to fill. We will continue on until we can continue on no more. Hey, Father Ken, help me choose. In Dragon Age Inquisition, do I work with the mages but lose the help of the Templars, or work for the Templars but lose the mages? Well, it really depends on what you're looking for. I know Templars tend to be more physically based, while the mages tend to be more magically based. Do you want to keep the power that comes with the mages, or do you want the defensive abilities of the Templars? It all comes down to what you're looking to do, really. Mages do tend to have a bit more range in what they can do, but they tend to be a little more squishy. If only Dragon Age was stuck in some sort of time loop where you can choose one, then go back and choose the other. Personally, I might choose the mages because if I have high physical stats myself, then they would complement me. But if I have more ethereal abilities, then I would go with the Templars. How have you built your character? All right. At the crest of a steady hill, you're finally able to look down on into the following valley and the target of the coordinates you've been trying to reach, another terraforming facility. Despite being the same type as the one you left, this one looks very different, having been heavily and haphazardly modified. You can barely even make out the name Lorian Station on the outer wall. You'll have to get closer to learn more. So if you're a mage, I would definitely I would suggest going with the Templars. Because then you can back them up. Alright, we're going to approach the facility. I've got 48 seconds of water left. And it's going to take 45 seconds to get there. I am not going to make it. I mean, I'll get to the facility, but as soon as I try to go inside, I'm going to keel over. And then I'm going to be right back at Talos. However, I will be able to get here faster next time. Alright. I got 4 seconds left. Driving carefully to avoid the numerous hastily built structures around the base of the station, you're able to get a closer look at them. They seem to be exceedingly basic habitats, many of them already showing signs of depressurization despite only being a few weeks old. None seem to be occupied. Fair. Alright, open the vehicle bay. 10 seconds. Well, say goodbye to loop number 2. You finally reach the coordinates. There's another whole terraforming station there, and you think you might even be able to work out a faster route now. This is definitely a big step in the right direction, and you're certain you can learn more next time. Wake up. You awaken in a cryo sleep pod. The chill you feel in your bones is almost starting to be a comfort to you. It's a reminder that you've been given another chance to get things right. I think I am actually going to save here. Let's take a look at the map real quick. So, we now have 2 points on the map. We have Talos, which is where we start every time. And then we have Lorien, which is where we go. So, Lorien. Following the coordinates from Talos' computer led me to the facility named Lorien that could almost be its twin, given how similar they look. Or at least used to look. The outside has been heavily and hastily modified. Still no sign of anyone moving around, though. Have they already moved on from here, too? I found the wreckage of a rover which looked like it's been there for decades, perhaps longer. Inside was a bizarre object, constantly shifting and changing. It must be the artifact that the Talos commander was talking about. The moment I saw it, I couldn't take my eyes off it, and felt compelled to touch it. But when I did, it was absorbed into my body, and locked me into some kind of time loop. Every time I die, I wake up back at the cryopod again. Thankfully, it affected the PDA too, so I don't have to retype these notes every time. Alright, so on that note, we're going to go into the menu. We're going to save. We're going to override my last save. And from here, I'm going to find someone to raid.
By the way, we have 341 followers. I know that number doesn't have a lot of significance to a lot of people, but it does actually have significance to me. Because a 341 chit was a slip of paper allowing you to go off base in the military. So, on that note, we're going to go ahead and see who all is live. It would be convenient if Chaos was live. But I suppose... Let's see, we got Smitty, we got Cinnabus, we got Tundra, Spelly. Let's see here. We got Rimulix, Uncle Bandit, Chris Triss. We got Cup as a Cat, Sidonia, Sinella, Harlequin Jester, Fira. You know, I think I'm going to raid Tundra. I'm pretty sure Chaos would approve. Oh, I was just saying, if you were live, it would be convenient, because then I could just raid you. But I will be raiding Tundra. Oh, it's Smitty's birthday? Well, in that case, I guess I'll just have to raid Smitty then. Give me a second to pull him up. We gonna raid the birthday boy. Feel free to use whichever of the raid messages you wish. Smitty is currently playing MLB The Show 26. I am not a sports ball fan myself, but if any of you are, it might interest you. So, thank you so much for joining me for this test. I hope you had a decent time. I hope that